All right. On this week's episode of the MentalEdge Podcast, your hosts,
Fernando Lopez Jr.
and Jay Wakasey, close out Season 2 with a 2020 year-end review. 2020.
You know what's crazy?
What's up?
I'm also recording on Zoom. Learned that lesson in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed your stay here in 2020.
Oh my God. Oh, dude.
Shiznit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How
Are
you
we going to
feeling?
go ahead and record while we're here?
Yeah, I already got everything recorded, so
I like it. I'm good.
You look good, man.
Thanks. You like my drawing, my painting?
Dude, I've been watching you do a lot of that time-lapse drawing. Those are my favorite. So I doubt that's a time-lapse, but is that an original Junior Lopez?
Yep. This one was part of like a series of 5. So I put clamps on the back of this thing's pretty tall. It's like 4 foot tall.
Is it?
And I lined up 5 different ones. You're only seeing a quarter of it maybe, but I attached 5 and then I painted them all. And then they're gone. This is the last one. That was in 2013.
2013. That seems like a lifetime ago.
Right? It's crazy.
Man. I was only 40.
So how do you what?
I was only 40 in 2013.
I can't do the math that fast, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. How you feeling?
I'm feeling better today. It was rough, man. Just to bring everybody up to speed, what Fernando's referring to is the reason that we sound funny in this episode is because it's being recorded remotely because Jay's got the COVID. Crap. I mean, I woke up today coughing more than normal. If I eat or do anything that has any apparently eating has some type of cardiovascular demand.
Yeah, so what happens?
So yeah, then it kind of triggers a little bit of coughing, and then it goes away eventually as long as I settle down. But
okay,
it's a heck of a way to finish 2020. It's so poignant to go out with COVID.
Yeah, I saw someone put a bunch of their faces. You could tell it was a family, but all their bodies were skeletons.
Oh my gosh!
And and they're all holding things that so you would know who they are.
Yeah.
And the caption said, "We gave you all we had, 2020."
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I'm going to turn you up a little bit in the monitor.
All right. Sounds good.
Actually, yeah, you're coming through good, actually. It's me that was a little low.
Nice.
But yeah, so
all right.
Are you anxious to see 2020 be in the history books, Junior? And are you anxious to move on to 2021?
I'm one of those, I know we're looking back at 2020 and that's like what we wanted to do today. And it was hard. It's still hard. I mean, it took a toll on so many people and myself included. But I've realized in life that I like to look back and take lessons from the situations or what we go through. And this is no different. I learned a lot. And, there was a lot of self-analysis going on and things like that. So I want it to be over because I want to continue to move forward.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
You get it.
I do get it, man, because it's hard to think about the future.
Yeah.
And put into perspective more of a time in my life where I miss the past. Like the past, Normally,
right.
Normally there's this natural progression of things going forward into the future where you don't think so romantically about the past. I mean, maybe a little bit, but right now, I think people just want the life they had in 2019, and people were cussing 2019 when they moved into 2020. But man, did 2020 remind them that sometimes what you got ain't so bad.
Oh yeah. I told my kid a few times growing up. I said, "Man, you think you got it bad? There's always someone else that has it worse." I've heard that, time and time again, but it's true.
Yeah, that excites him about life, right?
Yeah. It's the truth, though.
Yeah, it's like
Right?
the hard, cold truth, right? That's true, Junior.
Yeah.
It's true. But I saw you
I
you
mean,
had a bunch of great questions about 2020.
yeah.
But what were you about to
Yeah.
say? What were you about to say? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just, I'm reflecting even as we're talking about, even in this situation where we have this podcast and we're used to being for the last 60 plus episodes sitting in the same room. And here we are, something new,
Yeah. Right.
it just happened. Right. And you
Yeah.
have to adjust.
Hit the record button.
To adjust. And I think if 2020 has taught me anything, it's taught me that I have to adjust, I have to pivot. All the lessons and all the things that we ever talk about on this podcast is exactly the same. And, we have to use them. We have to use them in our lives.
You're right, Junior, because actually, 2020 was a year that put to test everything we said we should be doing. And every time I would fall off a little, Junior, I would, because we do the podcast, it holds me a little bit more highly accountable. But at the same time, it made me also hypersensitive to how getting off course a little bit totally affects my agenda and my lifestyle and the things that I want. And I'm not talking about things. I mean, things for me and my family. I don't just mean material things,
Yeah.
plans,
You
goals.
as a person.
Yeah, me as a person.
I get it.
Exactly. 2020 was quite a proving ground for all those concepts we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that said, though, I think we're going to call this, I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
And I'm Jay Wakasey.
And this is the MentalEdge Podcast.
Yep.
And we are looking back at 2020.
Yeah, this is
with that-
episode 20 in 2020. And it's the end of season 2. Let's just call it a wash. Right, buddy? And then we got some exciting stuff for next year, too. I already got people hitting us up who, guys, we can't have everybody on the podcast. We're looking for specific types of stories. It's not that we don't love you if we say, hey, it ain't the right time. It's just not the right time, right, Junior? For not everybody. There's certain elements that we're looking for, and it doesn't mean we don't love you because we love every one of you. But we're methodically picking and praying based on what our goal is.
Yeah, and what we're going through. So with that said, looking back at 2020, I want to start off with a few questions. And question number 1 is, what's the biggest skill that you acquired in 2020, Jay?
Oh, man. So for me, definitely.
And remember, we could use,
Yeah, definitely the multitasking of digital devices. I know that I'm better than I was because we made a lot of, and some of the stuff, Junior, I promise you, won't all be MentalEdge-esque. I won't answer, but what we set out to do and where we set out to grow, we did it exactly what we said we were going to do. But it often posed a problem. And I think with Signorelli, that interview, it drove a point home with me that we're really good, but I need to get better at. I think we've become really good at capturing things and great moments, but I want to be better at being excellent at it, dude. I really do because there's so much going on sometimes, and we want it to be so great for the people who listen and watch that there's a lot of P's and Q's and dotting I's and crossing T's that I've gotten better at, but so skill-wise.
But that's what's going to separate us from the rest.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
That's what's going to separate us from the rest.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. How about you?
So I took the opportunity to learn target marketing on social media. Okay. So I've really been narrowly focused on that because I don't have clients coming into my studio anymore. It's kind of like the playing field has changed a little. Wow. So I needed to change with the playing field. And, I felt like early on, I needed to focus on the internet, website, marketing, and things of that nature. I also learned, where you put your focus and your energy, that's what's going to grow. That's what's going to grow.
Wow.
Okay. So if you don't do those things, right, you're going to have companies that are going to fall off during this time. Cause I mean, trust me when I tell you, I was hit hard, but there's a lot of companies that were hit hard. And if you don't, acclimate to what's going on, the temperature in society and the culture and what's going on, then you might not be around. And I truly feel that this company was given to me, by the Lord to take care of, and I want to do my best. So, and then turning negatives into positives.
Once more with feeling.
Turning negatives into positives. Glory! I feel like that's a skill that I've had and I've always worked on, but I also really focused on that as well.
Wow. That's great. Because that's there'll be no shortage of opportunity to make that skill count for you. That's for sure. We're bombarded by negative stuff all the time. So when a person can take that energy and use it as fuel, then they're blessed.
Yeah. Well, a little more fun question that I had is your biggest fitness accomplishment for 2020. Okay.
So it's funny. I set out to do something the other day, and I set out to film it. And I will say that I just wanted to do 30 high quality pull-ups in a row.
But Jay, why?
Oh, that's simple, baby. 'Cause I'm a man. And that's what men do.
Okay. That's a big number.
Man.
20 I've been able to do for a long time. The other day,
that's arms all the way straight.
Exactly, because when you get in a groove, for the person who's watching you do it, they may think you're not going down all the way. So you want to almost emphasize that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have people watching, right away.
Yeah.
So, I did not achieve it. It was 29 in total muscle failure. So I was going to get it before the end of the year, but right now I'm going to embrace the excuse that COVID's got me laid up. So 29 is still a big number. I'm still happy with that, but I really wanted to hit that 30 in one time. I mean, I couple them together all the time, right? I mean, I've seen you do sets of 20 for a month straight, right? And then we know that chin-ups or pull-ups, whichever you call them, they separate the men from the boys. So that's why it's very MentalEdge-esque for me. I'm like, I'm going to do 30. And then I set out to film it and failed. And were my lats.
Are you going to still put that film out? Are you going to
I think I erased it on purpose.
Okay.
I think I hit that delete button, man. I was embarrassed.
Right. I get it. Yeah. No, it's good. Hey, I know how hard that was, and congratulations for 29.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever reached 30, like what they would call perfect pull-ups. But it is what it is. But I did do over 700 in a month.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
You remember that?
I remember it. That's what I was talking about, man. You were doing them day in and day out. Did you feel different when you challenged yourself like that? That's a campaign.
Different. Yeah. I felt different, and I'm sad that I hurt myself at the end. Yeah. Because, it's been, it's almost last September, and I didn't heal. Yeah. Thoroughly, completely. So the challenge now is just trying to, and I'm doing them right. This time I'm doing it completely different and taking my time. I think the sloppiness of the first part of September is probably what got me hurt. Yeah. I just didn't know. Now I know.
Sure.
So, so my biggest fitness accomplishment for 2020 was staying around the 200-pound mark, even with this crappy diet. Yeah. I mean, how hard is it for everyone now you have physical fatigue that has nothing to do with actually being tired because you're working out, but has everything to do with like the energy that we have going on, from staying at home for months on end, there's still some people that are still trapped at home. You know what I mean?
Man. God bless them.
Yeah. Yeah. So those types of things. But yeah, I really tried to focus on that, and I did it. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Number 3, your biggest relationship accomplishment for 2020.
That's a pretty good question, Junior. I would say what I saw the most value in was making sure my wife understood that when she had a goal, that I consider it a family goal too, and that she's going to get 100% support and maybe even a little crap from me if I don't see her trying to live up to what I know she really, really wants. So, just kind of being all in for her, because it really bugs me in a relationship, guys, when the relationship is all about one particular person and it seems to be going along great. And then one day you wake up and you're really surprised by the person who hasn't had any of their interests sort of sewed into is gone. You roll over and you wake up next to a note on your pillow. Right? So
or something worse.
I think it's pivotal to have this type of competition, but with the mindset that me challenging you, I get it. You being better makes me better, makes us better. And I wanted her to know that that's a concept that I 100% believe in. And it seems to me like she understands that. She understands that if she's got a goal, it matters to the whole family. So I think that's an important relationship.
I love it, man. And I got a chance to see it in person. So I got a chance to experience what you're talking about. And for those of you that for the MentalEdgers that follow you on social media and see you running with your wife doing rain or cold, and it wasn't even your race, right? But you made it your race, and I think that's awesome. The way you put that, man, that was perfect. That was beautiful. I love that. Yeah. So for me, the execution of really getting closer to people that I lost connection with over the years, that was like what I wanted to focus on. And I noticed, because we were at home and because of the, cell phones, even though we were trapped at home, it made it a lot easier to follow up with people. Imagine if we didn't have the cell phone.
Oh
right?
my gosh.
I haven't seen today. I haven't seen my grandmother since March. Man. So if it wasn't for the cell phone, I wouldn't be able to see her. So I'm glad that I get to follow up with people that I've lost connection with, friends, old friends and stuff like that. And it's, it's worked out for me.
Would you say, Junior, the thought of not being able to go see somebody has actually made you want to reach out digitally more to them? Understanding oh my God, I can't just get in my car and drive 36 blocks to see my grandma.
I took it for granted, right?
Yeah, right. All of us did.
Yeah. We took it for granted. So I took it for granted. And now I'm now it's funny because now I'll drive past one of my friend's house that I hadn't seen in forever. And one day I just decided to pull into the driveway and his dog came. I'm terrified of his dogs, period. This dog is a boxer, comes running at me. I'm like, oh no. But then he comes out, he's like, hey, what are you doing here? And, we got a chance to chop it up. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So stuff like that, man, I realized it and I really enjoy it. So
that's an important note. Relationships just aren't the people that you're in love with and that are in your house. Right. And I think that's a great point that you're making, Junior. Relationships are people you interact with all the time.
Yeah. All the time.
There's relationship goals.
That's what makes me me.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. You said earlier, the things that make you who you are, and that's what makes me who I am. So it's important to me. So I'm going to work on it. Biggest regret, Jay, of 2020.
So I'd have to say, And I reviewed this, and I struggle with this one because I didn't know if the best way to answer this was to think about what kind of COVID took away. And I regret that, or not cashing in on it before.
It's how you feel now. So, I mean, if that's if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Had this been a normal year, there would have been these. I mean, even though I'm going to look back, I still think fondly on some of the things that happened. Like a lot of marquee things would have happened in my family this year. I would have watched my daughter play college softball all the way through her senior year. And here I was standing there in Arizona, not realizing that until someone said, "Oh, this could be your daughter's last at bat." It made me feel like, oh my God, like I wish I would have gone to the park 1,000 more times. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, so, if I regret anything from 2020, it's that in the little bit of time that we had between January and March, had I had a crystal ball, I'd have made every freaking moment count, man, because once March hit and you started to realize that you lost more freedom by the day.
Oh, man.
By the day, like and, so if I have any regrets, it's that, moving forward, like I'm going to cherish every one of those moments. I'm going to, at least in the back of my mind, realize that at any given moment, the course of life can change and you need to be in the moment. To live in a moment.
I love it. I love that. That kind of carries into what I'm about to say. So for me, it was really hard because I try to live a life without regret. Yeah. Try to live in a moment for that moment to, and make the best of that moment. And but if I had to say something, it would be like missing a call or a text from someone that I really love and care about. And and having that person think that I don't care about them.
And that's so good.
But not realizing that, even though it seems like you would have a lot of time because you're trapped in the house, but for me, once I was, because I was trying to make the company digital or,
I can't even imagine.
It actually was a time suck. So I had to be really careful and, thinking about those types of things, sometimes, or the sheer volume of, what's funny is my phone has a feature that allows you to see all the different, like apps that you're on and how long you're on those apps. Sure. And that time, I forgot what it was called right now. It just leaves my mind. But anyway, but it also tells you on the average, how many text messages, emails, so emails on average, I get, and this is not junk mail. This is just emails that I'm like responding to. It's like in the 140 something range. Text messages gave me an average of 157 daily, not, not weekly.
You need an air traffic controller for your digital commerce, bro.
It's just crazy. Facebook messages, so sometimes things slip through the cracks, and I really don't mean to forget on purpose. It's just like, it's only one person, and I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but I think that's one of my biggest regrets, because sometimes I like to say to a lot of stuff, and and I'm not the best in time management. So, and I'm learning though, and I'm working really hard at it. So it makes it really hard to kind of get it all taken care of. So if that was my biggest regret, because some of these people I love dearly, and I don't want them to think that I don't. Yeah,
sure. Because you never can gauge. Two people are typically involved in a moment of interaction. Yeah. But you can never gauge the significance for each person. Like one you might have received 1,000 random text messages from that person, but this one, for whatever reason, is really important to them. How are you on the receiving end to know that when it was coupled with 5 emails from somebody else, all business related, right? And this one was, does this color look good on me? Yikes.
That is the downfall, a little bit of the downfall with social media, I would say. Mm-hmm. All right. Another fun question. I know that you're not huge on watching TV, and neither am I, but a show that you discovered in 2020. It could be online, it could be on TV, it could, Netflix, Hulu, whatever.
Okay, so I just started a couple interesting ones because I did not watch a lot of TV this year.
Right.
But I just watched a whole season of 60 Days In. And I feel
60
days in. So these guys, they go undercover in a prison.
Yeah. Love it.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
I've never watched it.
About. Yeah.
And I've got this COVID quarantine time. And I'm like, what can I watch that has a few episodes and I should say a few seasons? And I did start the latest season and I watched it to its. And what struck me as hilarious, I know it was in Arizona, but every single cast member reminded me of somebody who grew up in our neighborhood, bro. It was so bizarre.
Oh my God.
It struck a chord with me, like the particular people. It was hilariously relevant. And I'm pretty sure that I could go in there and run the whole prison, just being honest with you. But
oh my God, that's awesome.
Or be somebody's girlfriend.
Yeah, I think he was from New York. He was like a pastor, but now he's like a Latin king.
That's the one, man. I'm telling you. I feel like all those guys grew up in our neighborhood. No, and it was awesome. And I probably would be somebody's girlfriend in about an hour of being there, but
no, not true. Oh man, that's a good one. For me, oh, sorry, man, that was really good. For me, it was a show called The 100.
The 100.
Where The 100, yeah. Like it happens in like 2085 or something. And everyone's up in a spaceship. Elon Musk shot something up into outer space.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating there. But anyway, all these people are living there, running out of oxygen. And they want to ship like 100 criminals, young people that were put in jail for one reason or another. And they want to send them back down to Earth, but Earth, had a nuclear war. So, however long they were up there wasn't really long enough, but it was enough generations where the ones that were being sent down, they know nothing about Earth, only what like the older people that passed away on the ship have taught them.
Sure.
Through books and whatever. So they've never seen trees. They've never seen whatever. They get shot down and they survive. And there's already people down here that never died during the nuclear. Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you too much more, but it's a pretty good show. I don't know why I got hooked.
Isn't that funny? You never know which one's going to speak to you, like especially when they're story mode type of television shows, So, because I think. Sorry about that. No,
I feel because the Earth kind of. I mean, didn't it seem like everything, like you said, time was being sucked away from us? You're in a house, you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
Not knowing, like what's about to happen next. It leaves an uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I connected to that show was there was this uncertainty looming. And I felt like that uncertainty was kind of like the same thing that was going on in that ship. I guess that's
you're so metaphorical, man. I love it. It was at this moment that Jay was reminded that his boy Fernando was one seriously deep dude. You're so deep,
Yeah.
People don't.
Thank you.
Good. It's good.
I appreciate that. So we covered show. All right. An obstacle or challenge that you overcame in 2020.
So we were fortunate enough that you're not able to spend a lot of money when you can't do a lot of things. So we were able to concentrate on getting rid of some debt, and I can't believe how much of a slave you can be to debt and not realize it until you're blessed enough to maybe get rid of it. And then you feel, it reminded me of like when I told you I lost a bunch of weight and then I was running around and feeling like a different human being. Well, imagine that there's financial weight on you. You don't realize what it's going to feel like to have it off of you until it's gone. And then you're light on your feet again and you're desiring never to have that burden on you again. So for me, shedding some of that debt was, I think that I'm going to actually look back one day and be thankful for this year because of the way God blessed us to get rid of that. And that's crazy considering what else we've lost in 2020. But I'm glad that that's one of the things too.
Wow.
How about you, Junior? What obstacle? Because you're a businessman and this has been a rough year. And
Yeah, the marketing part that I mentioned earlier was really an obstacle.
Yeah.
I'll mention that shortly, right? I mean, it was kind of like going from analog to digital. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Even though we live in what we call a digital, world now, it really was kind of like going from analog to digital, I feel, because so much of my work was really contingent on people coming through, or shaking someone's hand or, like those types of things. Like, even though you and I are communicating right now, doesn't it, there's something missing still. Right?
I agree 100%. There's a dynamic. There's a depth to it.
Yeah. And it's The 2D relationship here on the screen is a little, it's a little cold.
Yeah. And then imagine if you're sharing it with 6 people on the same screen. It's not the same as making a deal in the hallway. It never will be.
Yeah.
Never will be.
No. Yeah. So the communication part of this right now, it's there, the element of communication, but there's something, the depth is not there.
Yeah.
The warmth is not there. So anyway, so that type of thing was, I feel like, an obstacle and a challenge, the marketing business side of it. And then self-awareness, because that's something that I've always been working on. I didn't realize that I was always searching for it or looking for it or wanting it. And then when I realized that that's what I was missing, you work for something and it becomes a challenge, right?
Sure. Wow, man. Self-awareness.
And in their lives, it's a challenge. So that was mine, man.
That's good, man.
Good. We good on that one? Yeah. All right. Well, let me see what I got here. Here's to something I learned about other people.
Yeah. For me, it became very obvious to me at a very early stage of 2020 how much people love people. And I mean it, man. Like, all the things that we were absolutely certain were important to us seem so ridiculous, Junior. Like right now, I got another taste of it when we had a pretty decent material Christmas in my house, but because my grown kids, can't come within a 5-mile radius of my house right now, it kills me. I could care less if I ever get another gift. I could care less if I ever get a gift card from Starbucks again. If I could hug my daughter and kiss my stepson on the neck and tell him I love him, I'd be good for life. But knowing that I can't have this moment with them reminds me how important their presence in my life is. And I think I see that we literally need people. We cannot live like this forever, Junior. I don't really care what anybody says. I'm not interested in this type of a life forever. It's got to be real. It's got to be. Hey, when we hugged Duke Tanner, there was I could feel his thankfulness for his life. There's no way that a Zoom conversation with him, there's no way it would have been the same. You said it. You felt his energy. You could feel it. It's because you were near it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it, man. People and people.
Yeah.
For me.
What's funny is mine was the same thing. And a little different. One, the people are more resilient than what I gave them credit for.
Amen.
So
amen.
I definitely, I witnessed that in so many different ways. And that was a beautiful thing, because I think we count people out sometimes. Yeah. And I think it's beautiful when they show us different.
Right in our face.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pie in the face, right?
Yeah. Love it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, and just like you, I have, a Christmas baby. My oldest was born on Christmas, and my son came down with the COVID. So they all were around each other. So then they weren't able to be around me.
Right.
And I really missed that. And I would definitely, I wouldn't take another gift ever if it meant that I could be with them, because they're important to me. So and, but we're going to reschedule. So
that's right. So we're going to do same thing, man. We're going to make it count.
So that's awesome. All right. And, let's see, this year I learned about myself. This year I learned about myself.
This year I learned about myself that, I don't know, man. Why don't you go first on that one?
All right. Yeah. All right. I will go first. The more that I practice opening up, the more I want to be that person.
I told you he was deep.
Yeah.
That's what I learned about myself. I learned that the more, sometimes you're given an opportunity, and I always tell my son, opportunity comes, but sometimes she doesn't knock before she arrives. And when that happens and you're in that moment, okay, you have to go for it.
Yeah.
And I learned that I kind of like that. It's scary as heck. It's scary. But this podcast is a perfect example. Like me in front of a camera. I'm never in front of a camera. Now I'm in front of the camera a lot, right? So you and I talked about that. And I try to just get better and better all the time, and not be as uncomfortable. All right. So those types of challenges, I think make for a better me. So
Yeah. That's great, man. I love that. And it kind of ties in with what I feel too about me. And that is that I feel like I'm pretty in tune, Junior, to what I'm supposed to be doing. But the bottom line is I almost have to feel my way through the dark. And what it's probably going to be is something very similar to what I think it is. Okay. But it's not exactly what I think it is. So it's almost like I've got a good hold on it. But as I move forward,
that's a great word picture.
Yeah, as I move forward, I need to be aware enough to know that, okay, this wasn't your exact lane. Like God always made all this stuff count for us, Hey man, I want the next great rock album to have my name on it, but that's probably not what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay?
Gotcha.
So I think what I've become more aware of, Junior, is that you're blessed with certain things and they count, but you got to find out exactly how they count for you. And you got to make that move. You cannot, look back with regret about what your fantasy was for that particular skill set. So I feel like I learned that capturing this stuff that we're talking about is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's not really making music. I get to do it anyway, right? We still make music.
Yeah.
Right? It's even bigger. Yes. It's even better if I embrace it.
Even better. I love it.
It's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really great. I love to hear that, man. Because sometimes I feel like I don't want this to become something that we just do. I always want to continue to challenge ourselves. And so I love that. That was great, man. All right. Another fun question. Actually, what's the most fun that you had in 2020?
Well, in 2020, we we went to Arizona to watch my daughter play, right? And we ventured into this kind of valley where we wanted to find this secret waterfall, and a bunch of people, Junior, had gone that direction and bailed. They couldn't find it. They bailed off.
Oh, really?
They bailed out because what happens is it was kind of damp and rainy, and it was really literally dangerous. Now, let me remind you, I've got my, at the time, 11-year-old with me. We're scaling these rock walls, and a bunch of people, we couldn't make it. They passed us back going the other direction. Well, me and my wife and Ryder, we made it. We made it to this waterfall. And it was like, I never realized later on in the year how there was going to be a bunch of stuff that seemed dangerous. But as long as we kept moving forward, right, we were going to make it through it. And right now we're at at this peak where we're both laying in bed watching The Mandalorian. And we made it though. And it's only going to be even better as we move forward to 2021. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that because it was a little bit dangerous. And do you not feel, Junior, like at a certain stage in your life, a little bit of danger makes you feel alive?
Oh man!
As long as it doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
Because I did. I fell. I fell and almost, Junior, I slipped, and my family was watching me. I slipped. And I fell and I landed on a ledge. And the next thing was a 25, 30-foot tumble into a little tiny pond that was surrounded by rock, But
oh my God!
So it was fun, man. We had a good time out there, and that's a different element. But yeah, that was probably the most fun we had because then after that, I'll be honest with you, we were on lockdown.
Yeah.
So
wow. Yeah. I guess for me, most fun I had in 2020 was getting to know my girlfriend and her kids. She has young ones, so getting to know her was a lot of fun. And then the kids added to that fun. Yeah. And danger.
And danger, right? Like just three handsome, rambunctious little boys, man. I tell you what, I don't know how you do it, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of fun. And we did like you right before the lockdown, we were always doing stuff. So
yeah, you guys are hiking all the time.
We just had to be a little more creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Just have to be a little more creative. All right. What do we got here? Most important goal that I set for myself.
What was that, Junior? You
want me to go first?
Yeah, I'd love for you to go first on this one.
Okay. So the most important goal that I set for myself in 2020, and just so you know, I'm not a big goal setter. I know it's
sure.
Especially it's like the long-term stuff. I'm okay with like little stuff. It's just the long-term stuff. And the more I thought about this question, the more I said to myself, something I feel like I was doing in my mind was I was adjusting to working less hours. Okay. And this is what I mean by that. I'm a workaholic. Okay.
Yeah.
Like my mother before me. So I would put in a ton of hours and I would forsake other things. Well, I purposely, it's a two-part. One, because of what happened in the COVID, the restrictions kind of helped. Right. And then two, I wanted to spend more time having fun.
Yeah.
That sounds weird, but I guess which was part of the question right before this. So, so that, adjusting and, making more time for myself and, making the time that I have for work count more.
Huh.
So that I could have fun.
Yeah.
All right. And that was it.
I love that, man.
All right. And you?
I love that. And how did you frame the question again?
I said the most important goal that you set for yourself. And by the way, once I realized that for myself, I then purposely tried to do it more often.
Yeah.
That's how it became a goal.
Yeah. So I am going to dive back into a little bit of the mental edge stuff here.
Yeah.
So because the year before, excuse me, sorry, I put that book out, the manuscript.
Yeah.
Then we started this, and I realized how, like, the potential of this.
Yeah.
Then we said in the middle of the year, hey guys, we're not going to ask you to set goals and write them down and us not have any.
Yeah.
So we said, we're going to start a YouTube channel to support the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we literally said, guys, this is, and we gave ourselves a date.
Yes.
Sometimes I wish we hadn't, you know? So, and what's awesome about that is when you set goals is, like, sometimes you don't actually achieve the goal, but if you respect that particular timeline that you spelled out for the goal, you do make progress, right? Because you'll have, like, in life, the way you're cammed, sometimes you'll make more progress than you expected. Sometimes you'll make less, but in the end, you know, the compilation of that will put you along a path that you wouldn't achieved had you had no goal, right? So us firing up this YouTube channel, us learning to do everything that we do, and I love how God has just people who like it are reaching out to prospective guests for us sometimes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. So
I like it.
That was definitely the goal for 2020 for me and I believe it actually was a team goal in the end, if I think about it right. It was mine and Junior's goal.
Right.
And it came to fruition. And it's just getting better all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That was awesome. And then this one, the best memory of the year. I'll go first again. And mine was pretty simple. Spending time with the people I love the most.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome, Junior.
Right?
Sorry. Not bad. 3 or 4 coughs in the span of 49 minutes. I must be getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty noble answer. The thing, the most memorable thing that happened to me. Well, I'm gonna pick 2 of them because they're for 2 people that I love. And really, there's a third. It just didn't have a marquee moment associated with it. But first was watching my daughter's boyfriend propose to her. Okay.
Wow.
So that was a big moment,
really
you know, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty fond of him, so I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, I know he's made a good choice. I'm pretty sure she's made a pretty good choice.
Right.
And on top of that, my son, or my stepson, asked his girlfriend to marry him. So next year we have 2 weddings. We're excited. That's a big deal when you look at your kids and you think, hey man, God has blessed them enough that I'm not going to have to worry day in and day out for them. Okay, that's a gift in itself. I love both the people they're going to marry. But then watching Missy cross the finish line, and what I really have a hard time even putting it in a perspective for people, because Missy couldn't even run 3 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. She couldn't even run around the block. She hated it. And then she didn't just finish the marathon, a very respectable time, and the last 100 yards, she sprinted like she had stolen a bicycle and was being chased by the cops. That's the way she does things, right? I mean, then it was absolutely awesome.
Goodness.
So for me, those kind of memorable moments, all that stuff happened in a year that we're supposed to think was the worst year in mankind, right? That stuff still happened for my family. And I bet you if you look back, every one of our listeners, those things happened in their life too. They really did. Like to some degree, Guy, when Junior asked us this question, he's asking you the same question, right? These aren't just questions for Jay and Junior. I get what you're doing.
No.
You're so crafty.
Yeah.
These are questions we want everyone who listens to the Mental Edge to ask themselves. And those moments were so memorable for me. Junior. I love it. It makes me say, I can honestly say, I love 2020 because of those three things that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. You see that perspective, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, you could look at it was a crazy year, but you could also look at it as how we looked at it today. It's a very different way to look at life, and we want the MentalEdgers or anyone that listens to this program to learn and use these tools and look at life a little different for themselves too,
Right.
So yeah. By the way, I wanted to say I love the hat. I forgot to tell you that when we first started.
It's because I haven't washed my hair in about 3 days, so.
And you're probably sitting either in your pajama pants or your boxers right now.
Grinch pajama pants.
Grinch pajama pants. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. No shortage of good times here. Hey man, thank you so much for taking the time to put this together, even though we couldn't be in the same location, and you've been fighting this COVID for the last how long now?
I couldn't. Here's the funny thing. I'll be honest with you. So they're like, when did your symptoms set in? I said, well, I had a really, really frustrated perfume lady at Macy's trying to help me pick up perfume for my wife on Saturday. And I'm like, they all seem so subtle. And she's looking at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. Later on that night, I couldn't taste my sandwich.
Yeah.
So apparently I've been battling it since last Saturday because I couldn't smell anything.
You were giving it to everybody over there.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I had my mask on, right? But that lady kept looking at me like, it's funny.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I had a good time having a conversation with you, man. I miss you, though. It's not the same with you not in the room.
Yeah. That's all right. We'll get back to that.
Yeah. But we are going to take a little break,
we're
right?
also taking a break, right?
Yeah, we're going to take a couple week break. Retool a little bit, maybe change the intro for the people who listen and for us, of course. And get Junior in here on some drums, maybe to lay down some sick beats, right? We're gonna retool a little bit. Yeah, we got some merch coming. That's exciting, right? Yes. Mental merch.
Oh yeah!
I can't wait to show people those t-shirts.
I know you'll be wearing it like every episode. Not because you only have one shirt and one hat. It's only because you're going to be so excited that it's going to be like a...
Yeah, Junior, that mental thong we've got coming, I tell you.
You're crazy, dude.
Oh, man, it's like floss up the rear.
And you know what, though? The energy, your humor, that is still coming through.
Okay.
I love that, man.
I hope so.
And your wittiness, even though you're down, you're having a flu game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're having the flu game because you're on, dude. I appreciate that, man.
All right, man. Well,
thank you so much, man. I'm going to go ahead and let you go because you can get some rest. I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
I'm Jay Casey. This has been the MentalEdge Podcast.
We out.
Well, all right. That'll just about wrap it up. Thank you for listening to this episode of the MentalEdge Podcast. Your host, Fernando Lopez Jr.
Oh, he's so handsome.
And his trusty sidekick, Jay Casey.
Hey, that's me.
Seriously appreciate you spending time with us tonight. Remember, if you like this content, the most flattering thing you can do is like and share.